Oh, you're on mute.
Forgot. Good evening.
How are you?
So we'll wait. Aaron, your name tag says Mayor Safari Romeo taken.
Oh, I probably signed in. Let me try again.
Morning, good morning. Good evening, Joe.
Hi, Rich.
And there's a silent Bobby.
Hello.
Bobby's always in the background, taking notes that she will soon publish in a book.
No, just publicly on the city. So,
That's better.
Now we know who you are.
Very good. Rich, so we'll be in touch tomorrow about that other situation. I don't think it's really something that needs to get discussed now or tonight, given
Okay.
they're working on it.
Thanks, Claudia.
But just,
Whatever you say, Karen.
yeah,
Just remind everybody that we're already recording.
okay.
What did I miss?
Thanks, Vicky. No, I was just following up with Rich and saying we will talk tomorrow.
Huh?
Need to.
Okay. Oh,
Indeed.
yeah. Yep. Well, they're gonna start thundering and storming.
You mean the weather?
Yeah, that too.
As far as I know, Rob is on his way. He hasn't called me otherwise.
Okay.
Is Fred on vacation or traveling or something?
He is. He's in Maine someplace and apparently does not have reliable internet. Or that's what he said. There's Rob.
And everybody deserves a vacation, I think.
Indeed. Hey, Rob, can you hear us?
Hi, Rob.
Hold on one sec. I don't know if I'm,
We hear you.
okay. Sorry. Join them in. Oh,
Well, I have 5:30, so I think we should get started.
Yep.
Welcome, everybody. This is the Gloucester Board of Health meeting. It is July 1, and this meeting is virtual. As always, I have to read the following. This meeting is recorded by video and audio in accordance with the state open meeting law pursuant to Section 20 of Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. This meeting will be conducted by remote participation. The public may not physically attend this meeting, but every effort will be made to allow the public to view and listen to the meeting in real time and participate when necessary. Additionally, all votes taken by the Board of Health during this and future remote meetings will be by roll call vote. If you are calling in on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you are watching on a computer or device, there is a raise hand button that you can tap or press to request to speak. Please use either of these options during all communications to be recognized to speak. The listing of matters is those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items may not listed may be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. And note that the order of the agenda may be modified at the board's discretion. Okay. Moving on. First is introduction of the board members and staff. So we'll go through these. I'm Rich Sagal, the chair of the board. Joe,
Joe Rosa, member of the board.
Claudia,
Claudia Schweitzer, board member.
Karen was muted.
Karen Carroll, Public Health Director.
Bobby,
Bobby Orlando, recording secretary.
Rob. You're muted, Rob. Still muted.
Bob Harris, board member.
And we have one guest on the panel, Chris.
There we go. Christopher Hahn's in the mayor's office.
Thank you. Next, we move on to public oral communication. This is an opportunity for anyone in the public to speak for up to 3 minutes on an item not listed on the agenda. If anyone wishes to speak, either raise your hand or dial *9. And I should mention Victoria Stringfellow is doing the technical support tonight. Anyone indicating?
No raised hands.
Thank you. Next, we have approval of the minutes for the Board of Health meeting of June 3rd, 2021. Are there any changes, additions, deletions?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of June 3rd, 2021.
I'll second.
I believe I was absent for that meeting,
I believe you were.
so I will. abstain.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any final comments? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote of those who are attending the meeting. Rich Sagal, aye.
Bob
Claudia
Harris.
Aye. Claudia Schweitzer, aye.
and Rob Harris,
Rob Harris, aye.
thank you. Committee reports. There are none reported on the agenda, so we'll move on to new business. Dissolution of search committee created June 3rd. Who was going to talk about that?
I mean, I can if no one else wants to. It's just basically for open meeting law purposes. You can't all 5 of you form a search committee and be meeting to discuss the recruitment of a new board member. So the suggestion is that there would first you dissolve the committee that you voted on last meeting, and then you would set up a new committee with 2 members.
Thank you, Karen.
Karen, is it possible could you have 2 search committees with 2 members apiece, or you would just pick out? I don't know.
I mean, as long as they don't deliberate, what you can do is have a search committee of 2 of you chosen to take the lead, and then other people, there's a process for the rest of you to provide input, suggestions, or whatever is through those 2, is my
Nice.
understanding.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I assume that anybody can give feedback to the search committee, like, this would be a good person, could you check them out, or, whatever.
Right,
Um,
okay.
I would agree with that.
Well, I'll make a motion to dissolve the committee that was initially set up.
I'll second that.
I
Any
second that.
comments, questions?
So who was on that committee?
All of us.
What, was it all of us?
Well, last
Oh.
meeting, we discussed that, I believe. Joe wasn't here.
Yeah.
So you weren't on it because you weren't here. That's what happens when you miss a meeting.
Yeah, right.
So we'll take a roll call vote. Joe,
I certainly move to dissolve the existing committee of June. 3rd.
Claudia,
Yes, dissolve.
Rob,
Yes,
myself, yes. Moving on, creation of a new search committee with only 2 board members and possibility of non-board members. Any thoughts on that? Besides board members, any thoughts on who else should be on the committee?
Not really. I don't recall ever being part of something like that, but I don't think it's a bad idea.
I recall on one time when we were searching, Max was asking questions, so he must have been on the search committee at that point.
Uh-huh. When we were searching for a new board member?
I'm sorry, no, that was director, never mind.
No.
Yeah,
Al
yeah,
directed.
yeah.
Yeah,
Has
I-
anyone expressed interest in participating in that activity of finding a new board member outside of the board?
not to
I'm
me.
not aware of it.
not that I know
I mean, I would certainly welcome, I think that'd be great, but I'm not sure how that sort of I don't know.
of. I would say unless somebody expresses some interest in it, we probably should just form a committee with board members.
Uh-huh.
Is there anyone willing to volunteer?
I'm happy to volunteer.
So,
I don't think
volunteer.
it's appropriate
I-
for me to volunteer since I'm going to be leaving.
For sure. I mean,
Rob,
I'm-
it's your meeting.
I'm sure Fred would be wanting to be a part of it, but if he doesn't, I would be happy to volunteer.
Well, I think something that's important, I wouldn't want to nominate somebody who isn't here.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Okay, then you can
Well-
nominate me then.
Okay, so well, I guess someone should just make a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we have a new search committee for a new board member, and the committee is comprised of Rob Harris and Joe Rosa.
I'll second it. Any final comments? No one wants to back out? If not, we'll take a vote. Joe,
Yes,
Claudia,
Yes?
Rob,
Yes,
And
myself, yes.
I
So now we
mean,
have a
and I'm
good-
certainly happy to give input. I had some thoughts about some possible people, but,
Well, that'd be good. I'm sure we all have some thoughts.
yeah,
yeah, as long as we do it
Contribute.
with just 2 people in a meeting
right, yeah,
communicating, that's
And no decisions are being made.
right.
These are just suggestions, and we're not,
exactly.
going to act on them just with when someone
Right.
suggests it. Okay, moving on, termination of the following Board of Health emergency orders. The eviction moratorium, where do we stand on that?
Essentially, the CDC's moratorium, which I think Max sent out in your packet, expires on July 1. So at that point, it becomes an issue between the tenant and the landlord.
I thought that I read that they had extended it. Is that, am I incorrect?
Maybe until mid-July. I'm not actually sure.
I thought
Thought
I,
Max had said July 1.
I was thinking the same thing, Claudia.
Yeah, I vaguely heard something similar, but I must say I don't recall the date that it was extended to.
Chris, have you heard?
I was under the same guise that Karen just said. It was July 1st. I'm looking it up right now, and I'm trying to see if anything. There was talk about it, but I don't know if that ever got ratified. To be honest
Right.
with you, I think Karen's accurate.
Well, since we have the world of Google available to us, we should check and see.
yeah.
The point is, I guess, that we've been using the CDC guidelines. Is that the point? Yeah.
Right. So it's just kind of an acknowledgement that as of July 1, or whenever Chris finds out for sure the date that the CDC moratorium ends, ours would too, as all communities would. And it becomes back an issue between landlord and tenant to resolve.
So I just Googled it and it said July 31st.
Yeah, yep, the board member is correct. July 31st, 2021, the CDC moratorium will prevent residential evictions for non-payment for qualified tenants with a written declaration to their landlord. So it's July 31st. So my apologies.
No, it's okay.
I think it's best if we make a motion saying we just follow the CDC guidelines in case they extend it again.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Do we need a motion to that effect?
Yes.
Well, I would like to move that the Gloucester Health Department continue to follow the CDC guidelines regarding the eviction moratorium, which is currently slated to end on July 31st.
Second,
Any final comments? Hearing none. We'll take a roll call vote. Rob,
Yes.
Claudia,
yes.
Joe,
Yes.
myself, yes, pass unanimously. Next, we want to look at the use of masks and other protective measures while in public. Again, do we have the CDC guidelines available?
I don't know if you have them available right now, but they're essentially the DPH and the CDC guidelines now around masking that would apply for everyone. Now that the emergency orders are over and all of Baker's and our local governor's orders have been lifted, it just kind of falls back to CDC and DPH advisories around mask wearing and social distancing, all of that. So I think that's where we would fall back to too. You guys had not wanted to create additional orders going beyond the governor's when we spoke about this last time, but if you do, you can. So we're just kind of flagging that our departmental order that we put in place way back when before the governor enacted his, that will be expiring. So, or we need to vote to terminate that order.
And through the chair, respectfully, there is a new updated page updated as of June 29th from the CDC, which now includes new guidance for people with beards. So I'll be paying a special attention to that. So just to give you all a heads up.
Thank you. Any other comments on this?
Well, I just have a question. So is the guidance that if someone is not vaccinated, they should be wearing a mask in public? Okay. But again, it's just a recommendation though, right?
It's an advisory,
An
and
advisory.
if you are not vaccinated, the CDC and DPH advise that you wear a mask.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've had two situations recently where I was in the middle of conversations with people and who weren't wearing masks and found in the middle, it came out that they were not vaccinated. So frustrating. And
I was
that's what
reading,
I thought it was just a recommendation.
I was reading today that something like 99% plus of people who come down with COVID are unvaccinated.
Right. Who are 100% of hospitalized people.
Mm-hmm.
They're not
Any other comments?
Nope.
Entertain for a motion.
I would move,
Yep, go ahead. Ron.
I'll move to lift the mask ban that we set in place, or the mask mandate that we set in place, and follow the Massachusetts governor's guidelines for masks.
Second that?
Any comments or questions?
I would just add, with the reservation that we retain the option to provide more aggressive orders or guidelines.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
If not, we'll take a vote. Rob,
Yes,
Claudia,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes,
myself, yes. Okay, moving on to old business. COVID-19 response updates.
Yeah, just a brief update there. There's still 0 cases as of today, no active cases either. And we haven't had any active cases now for quite a couple of weeks, where there's maybe been only 1 or 2 popping in and out. So that's great. And the contact tracing team finished up as of yesterday. So they're done. The BioBot testing, wastewater testing, we did, as you know, we voted at our last meeting to stop the wastewater monitoring, at least for now. And when we reached out to tell them we'd like to stop, they offered to see if we wanted to participate in, I think, a federal program, a testing program for free for another 9 weeks or something. So we've opted in, and our DPW folks are working with us on that. They'll continue monitoring for at least another 9 weeks for free. So
that was monitoring just COVID, right?
yeah, yep. I don't think they'll be doing the special strains or the variants. I think it's just, but we're still setting the whole system up with them. So we'll know more, excuse me, what they're going to test for and what they're going to report on exactly once we get set up with that program.
good.
So yeah, and I think those are really, there's very little activity at the moment, obviously. No new information on boosters or recommendations from the state anyway on vaccinations and how long immunity lasts, any of that. So we'll be watching all that and see where it goes. Any questions?
One question, if we have a positive case, would any tracing be done?
Not locally. The state will be running their tracing unit until I think September 1 or sometime in September. Their team is still there, and they Monday to Friday, and they will do the tracing for any cases
So
that don't get picked up by 11 o'clock at night on Maven. So that's kind of how it's always gone. And then how tracing will happen moving forward, whether will continue to be one of the diseases that we do continue to trace for, or the local public health department is expected to follow up on, or whether that will stay. I imagine that will be the expectation. There have been grants put out for for communities to work regionally to set up a contact tracing unit to continue doing that work should we have another surge.
So
Thank you,
Karen,
Karen.
is it automatic then if someone tests positive that their results get sent to the state?
Yep, they go
That's
into
how they would know to do the contact tracing?
Anything that's still sitting there positive at 11 o'clock at night will get picked up by the contact tracing team, and they'll go ahead and call them. Most cases now, when they used to do the tracing for us, there were exceptions. They wouldn't do school cases and they wouldn't do contacts. They would only do the index case. So I assume that's still the same as well.
Thanks, Karen. Any other comments on COVID-19 response?
I don't think so. No, good break
Okay.
from it.
Any questions from the board?
Nope.
Moving on, directors.
Well,
report.
I guess I was just going to say, Karen, it's, as always, I want to thank you and Kelly and the staff for the amazing job that you've done at getting us to 0 and keeping us at 0.
Indeed.
Really
Yes, I
appreciate it.
agree.
It's only because of your hard work that happened.
Thank you, Claudia.
Okay, moving on.
The
Director's
director's report and our other departmental updates, Max did not get a chance to finish up all the numbers and the tables, so he'll finish that up when he comes back from vacation and provide you the update on our monthly numbers. We are continuing to have an issue with the creek at Good Harbor. As you know, it's been closed and signposted for no swimming. The lifeguards are doing their best to enforce that. We worked, Rachel, our new housing inspector, who also does pools and beaches, has been fantastic. She's been working with Craig the sanitarian, DPW, and the state to try to identify the source of where the bacteria is coming from. And we did several tests at different points upstream to try to identify the problem area yesterday, and it's pretty clear where it is. So we're working now with DPW. I think there's some meetings tomorrow to try to hone in on that and correct the problem. So making some progress, at least on finding out where the trouble.
So we don't know as yet the cause of the contamination?
It's from the pumping station. That's where the concentration is just at that point. And then as you move out, it lowers. So there's something there that needs to be addressed. And Dana from DPW is working with us on that.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Mhm.
Any other comments for Karen?
On that, just director's, and the only other thing, which I know you're all aware, is that I've tendered my resignation as of July 23rd, and Kelly Reese Highland has tendered her resignation as well. So I think you've all received that today. And no other major updates from the board. We are busy. There's camps. There's a lot of activity here. Busy time of year, and but all's relatively under control at the moment.
Well, I want to say, Karen, as I wrote to you and to Kelly, to just say how sorry I am that you're both leaving. You're two amazing staff people, workers. You've gone so far above and beyond. And I'm just really saddened that it's come, that the level of stress has gotten so high that you felt there was no other choice for you but to leave. And I totally understand that, but I'm just so sorry that you feel like you've been put in that position.
Yeah, I agree entirely.
I would second that. I think you've done a remarkable job, particularly in light of what's been going on, and really brought the department forward. And I don't know if anybody's going to be able to continue to do that or not.
I would definitely agree with all of that, and you'll be very missed here. And you were very professional in the last several months, the way you've handled it. And thank you for that.
I would agree totally.
And more personally, if I may, through the chair, I wanted to wish Karen my best as well too. And I had the chance to work with her a few years back, and then coming back and getting up to speed with everything going on with the pandemic. It was a tough time, but Karen was always a professional, and it was always a privilege to work alongside of her. And I wish her her best in her next chapter. And I'm sad that I won't get the chance to work with her much more on the horizon, but I certainly wish her my best. So just want to offer that too.
Moving on, any concerns of the board?
Yes, I've got a few. The first one is I was very disheartened and angry, upset, concerned that I learned through people calling me to tell me that on Facebook and on Good Morning Gloucester, there was a statement, mayoral statement regarding the Board of Health concerns. I don't understand, if this is the mayoral statement regarding the Board of Health concerns, why it wasn't sent to us. Using social media is totally inappropriate. And I find it very, very upsetting. And I can't tell you how many calls and times people have stopped me on the street to tell me that. Totally, totally inappropriate. I'm very upset about it. And I think the mayor needs to be held accountable. This is totally inappropriate. I
I
don't know.
would
if
agree
anyone-
100% with that, Claudia. I think that there are ways to present information and ways you shouldn't. And she's been following all the ways that it shouldn't be done.
And so then if you follow the thread on Facebook, not only is this there, but then there are people making comments. And then it became personal. People making nasty comments about health department staff, even about board members. Who are these people? And then accusing Karen of taking a trip or giving, whatever. It isn't worth saying what these things are, but, and then the mayor agreeing with that. Saying, yes, that did happen, or yeah. So she kept the conversation going. It wasn't just that she posted it. She interacted with the people who were making inappropriate comments. And I just find this highly, highly unprofessional. And I feel as a board, we need to reach out to HR about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe there are protocols in place which say what's inbounds and what's outbounds. And posting on social media ad hominem comments by those in office is out of bounds.
And not even having the courtesy to send it to us, the people that she's addressing her concerns to. Mayoral statement regarding Board of Health concerns. That's us, right? The Board of Health. But we didn't get this. We only got it because we heard through the grapevine, through our friends, family, other people, that these things were posted. And for the life of me, I cannot understand how this is a professional way for anybody to interact. I think the board and the staff, the health department staff and the board have been highly professional throughout this whole ordeal, as I would like to call it.
Well, I also agree with that. I think that a lot's been going on, which is really debasing the validity of the current administration. I know there was a session about respectful workplace training. And to be honest, the person who needs it the most wasn't there, as far as I could tell, as far as I know. The mayor should have attended that. I suspect she needs it more than anybody else. Any other thoughts?
That I would totally agree with posting comments on Facebook about the health department and its staff is totally inappropriate. I don't do Facebook, so I haven't seen all the comments, but it seems to be a tough thing to resist for some people. So, but yes, I would agree.
Yeah, I agree also. I do not do Facebook, and I would not have known about this except for some of my employees told me about it.
Yeah,
I think that's just a disgusting way to present information, to communicate.
And on Good Morning Gloucester also, like, what does it have to do with anything?
Is that still up on? I couldn't find anything on Good Morning Gloucester. Is that still?
I don't know. It was sent to me by one of the city councilors the other day, who said, "Oh, did you see this?" And it was like, "No, I don't look at Good Morning Gloucester. I mean,
No,
sometimes
Rarely
I
do.
do, but nope."
I would request that the mayor issue an apology about this type of behavior, although to be honest, I don't think it would change behavior.
I think we need to file, I know that the union, has filed a formal complaint, but I think as a board, I don't know what the procedure is, but I think we also need to file a formal complaint because we need to send a message to the mayor that she needs to be held accountable for this kind of totally inappropriate behavior. It's not about agreeing or disagreeing about a policy issue, or something like that, where we have different positions. This is totally inappropriate. I don't know who would think this is okay. So I don't know who can answer that question, or
Well,
we?
Yeah, so rather than starting from scratch, perhaps we can just join the union complaint.
Mm-hmm.
Not that that's terribly helpful, but it sounds easier.
Well-
I'm not quite sure what that entails, but I agree that the board's opinion should be voiced to HR.
And
We're
the mayor
members
needs
of
to be
the-
held accountable.
We're members of the Mass Association of Boards of Health. Is that the correct name, Karen? And I think that it might be worthwhile for one of us, or maybe two of us, to do a call with their attorney to find out what is the appropriate channel to register a complaint like this.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I just
Um,
want to say one thing too. It's a little frustrating because through this whole process, we haven't spoke to anybody about this. We didn't even talk to each other about it. We followed the rules and we did what we were asked to do. And now it's, I hear this discussion going on Facebook. It's a little frustrating.
So the highly confidential letter that we all had an opportunity to read, but not even take with us, we had to take notes one at a time
In private.
in private. The mayor posted on Facebook and Good Morning Gloucester. A couple of things. I think, Rich, you as the chair could write a letter on behalf of the board to HR saying that we support the unions, we support the union's position and share their frustration or share their, I don't know what word, but I think that would be helpful, just something short that from the whole board, that we share their concerns, certainly.
Okay, and I think the other thing is we could talk to Cheryl Sabaro
Yeah,
and get her opinion as how we can make an official complaint, if that's the term we want to use.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to talk with her with somebody else also who would be interested in doing that.
I'm happy to join you if you want, Rich.
Okay, I will talk to you offline so we can set up a protocol to get in touch
Right.
with her and do that discussion.
Yeah.
Now, if we compose a letter, we may have to have a special meeting to discuss it. Why don't we wait and see?
well, I guess what I'm suggesting, just as an immediate thing, to just write a letter to HR saying, we agree with and support, the union's concerns about the mayor's use of social media. Just like one sentence that gives support to the union.
Well, I
And
can
then
do
go-
that.
Yeah. Is that something that everybody feels would be
Yeah,
helpful?
I since I'm not familiar with exactly what the union is, what their complaint is.
It's
I
in
wouldn't-
an
I wouldn't-
email we got today, Joe.
Yeah, no, I saw it, but it didn't have the actual, as far as I know. it
Oh,
didn't have
oh,
the
yeah.
actual complaint. And so I wouldn't want to go any further than that without seeing that. But I think just generally saying we support their issues is reasonable.
Yeah.
I'll put something together tomorrow. And I'll try to get ahold of Cheryl just to see what she has to say.
Mhm.
And then we can
Okay, so
make
you and Joe
decisions.
are gonna do that and then,
Joe and I will do that, and we won't make any decisions except what we need to bring back to the board.
Mhm.
We'll figure out when we bring it back to the board.
yeah, I mean, I'm certainly happy to have an emergency board meeting whenever to just deal with this one concern.
Any other comments? I just want to mention how sad I feel that we have to do this. This is something I never figured we would do as a board. And it's really disturbing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's disturbing on two levels. One, it reflects a level of dysfunction, but it has precipitated the loss of two people that are probably the most valuable and respected people in the department. And that is a great loss for the city.
And it also puts us in a tough position of trying to find someone to fill their shoes.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, if they were not gonna stay for the reasons that are publicly known, there's no secrets here, I hope. Why would anyone want to come here?
I can't imagine why anybody at this point in time would want to come to the city of Gloucester and serve on a board or commission
Or run the health department?
or run the health department.
Even more
Yeah.
important, yeah.
Yeah, and I have to say, I've been, I've been getting, stopped by several people. People are upset, people in the community are upset about this.
Oh, yes.
And it's kind of all leaking out. Well, especially when it went on Good Morning I mean, Facebook is one thing. Seems like maybe more people read Good Morning Gloucester or something, because that, I guess, was just glaring.
Was that an audio?
No, it was,
or It was just some text from,
no,
Yeah.
it was, I maybe, because it was sent to me in an email, I
Yeah.
could try to forward, if I can find it, I could forward that email to you.
And when was that, today?
No, it was, I can't, the days all, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before.
Recently.
Yeah, it was either yesterday or the day before, and that's the first thing I printed out, that's the one, mayoral statement regarding Board of Health concerns. So
Any other comments on this, or you think we've
No.
said
No.
enough?
But I will forward it to Joe and Rob if I'm sure I can find it in my email.
So
That would
send
be
me
great.
that also.
Yeah, okay.
Any other comments, or should we wrap it up?
Let's wrap it.
Okay. If there's no other concerns, the next board meeting will be August 5th. Barring the need for any special meeting sooner than that. Motion to adjourn.
Sure, I just want to say to Karen personally, I hope, that I get to see you before, because clearly you won't be at the next board meeting, but that we can have an opportunity to say our goodbyes, which again, so sorry.
We're all
You'll be in the
gonna miss
office
you,
next
Karen.
week, right, Karen?
good.
Yeah, my motion to adjourn.
Second.
Rob, I guess we have to go by voice vote.
Yes, to adjourn.
Claudia,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
myself, yes. Meeting is adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Night.
Karen especially.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sleep well tonight.